I'm not too far away from doing my All-Australian predicted team for 2026 over on Daz Talks Footy, and I wanted to talk about the Hawks that I've been putting into consideration for making that team. And I think there are two tiers that we can put players into: squad potential and then team potential. So those that could absolutely end up in the 40, but maybe not the team, and those that could absolutely end up in the team. And I want to talk about both of those groups in this video and give you my top 3 most likely Hawks to end up with a Blazer come the end of the year. So without any further ado, and then just before we start, I know I talk about subscribers all the time, but it really does help me out, guys. 1K is the goal. I know we're not going to get there before opening round, but the closest we can get would be amazing. So go ahead and do that. It's free, takes 1 second, and helps out more than I can tell you. The subscriber count has increased significantly since I brought it up in the last video, so I really appreciate everyone that has already done that and are doing it right now. Let's go. So these are the guys that I think have got squad potential. Unlikely to be in the team, but I definitely can see in the 40. And there are going to be some guys on here that some fans really disagree with me on, and that's cool. I actually do like disagreement discourse. I don't think that we all need to have the same opinions. I'm probably going to do these in a weird order, but we'll go with what we want to go with. Lloyd Meek is the one that I think is probably the least likely out of all of these. I don't know how the big boys are going to adjust to the ruck rules in the first half of the season. Tristan Sherry has struggled in a big way, and Lloyd is probably more a him type of ruckman than he is, say, a Tom De Koning, Max Gawn, Tim English type of player, even though I would absolutely take Lloyd over TDK as a prospect. It would be really unlikely, I think, for him to make it. But a career best season, could he be the 3rd or 4th best Darcy Cameron style and be on the fringes? I could totally see that happening. Jack Ginnivan, after being dropped last year, basically averaged 20 and a goal, which got guys like Cozzy Pickett and Dylan Moore Blazers in the past. So he is definitely one that I think that we can think about. And of the small forwards, I actually think he'll have the least amount of CBAs, with Dylan Moore, Connor McDonald, and Nick Watson also going to be able to have CBAs, those centre bounce attendances. For those of you that don't know, I think Ginnivan would have the least, which means he probably has the best offensive threat. And as I put in my community tab, and I like to do little Hawthorn quizzes and posts from time to time, Guinea actually had the best one-on-one offensive win percentage last season for the Hawks at about 31.6, which is kind of remarkable. But I do think he is a guy worthy of discussion. I also looked at a guy like Massimo D'Ambrosio because he's made the squad before, did it in 2024, and I think his biggest roadblock is not necessarily other wingmen in the competition. It's, will the All-Australian selectors actually respect it like they did with Josh Dacos in that 2024 season, or are they going to refer back to what they did last year? They put Nick Dacos on a wing, for crying out loud. So that would mean guys like Errol Goulden, Max Holmes, Hugh McCluggage, Bailey Smith, these kind of guys that are predominantly outside midfielders. Noah Anderson, I could see them being a midfielder that they could put on a wing for some stupid reason. That might be the way to go, and considering guys like Ollie Dempsey, and if he was fully fit, a Dan Curtin type would absolutely fit that sort of wing position. I think Massimo is just up against it for reasons that are actually outside of his form and control. You never know with a career best-ish season, and I think Massimo still has room to grow in his role. I'd be really excited to see what he can do. Gunners, of course, has made the squad before, and we love that for Gunners in a big way. I don't know whether he's going to be able to replicate the amount of goals that he's going to get him a Blazer, but hey, even if he has, and I've said this in other videos, a 20% drop-off from last season, you are still looking at about 55 goals, which is nuts and will definitely still get you on the fringe of selection. But again, can I really put my eggs in the basket of him absolutely replicating those 74, 73 goals from last year? Unfortunately, no, but do I still think that the old fella can turn it up, prove how good that body is, and get himself into the fray of the 40? Yeah, I don't think that's impossible at all. And then, of course, we've got the co-captains on there as well. I don't think James Sicily is going to be an All-Australian this year. And to be honest, I didn't really have him in consideration in my back six. I could absolutely be wrong on that. Would be very happy to be wrong on that. Fringe of the 40, I absolutely think could be the case, but even then, I don't think he necessarily has to be that. Our backline is definitely a collective. It's the same reason why guys like Jarman Impey and Carl Amon, I just didn't really consider for that. Could they still be really good? Absolutely. Could they still have A-grade performances? Of course they can. They had that last year and we went to a prelim. It is not a negative to be put out there and be like, I just don't think they're going to be in the best 6 or 7 defenders in the competition. Top 20, Absolutely. All of them could be there. Jack Scrimshaw, Blake Hardwick wouldn't surprise me if they were top 20 defenders in the competition next year. I don't think it's going to be all of them, but I wouldn't be shocked to see that we had 3 or 4 of the highest rated defenders, whether that is eye test or whether it is AFL player rating. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Sis has a job to do. He does it reasonably well. I thought he was down last year. If he rebounds, he could absolutely be a part of the discussion, but I find it hard to believe that he is going to usurp potentially guys, whether it is a third key defender, whether they put someone like a Callum Wilkie, for example, in a back pocket alongside someone else, whoever it may be. But you've got guys like Josh Worrell who are going to be in competition for that. One of his teammates, which we're going to talk about, who also made the side last year. Spoiler alert. So, yeah, this is where I put Sis. I could absolutely see people being offended by that. And the one, of course, is Jai, who a lot of people love, including me, by the way. I think it's pretty impossible to hate Jai, to be completely honest with you. But I just want to bring up with you is that even if the wingmen are pure midfielders, so they're not even wingmen, we are saying that he has to be in the top 6 mids in the competition. And all I'm saying is I have more faith. I would rather put my money, fake money in this scenario, but money, in him being from 7 to 15 than I would top 6, just because of how stacked the midfield class is in the competition. He also didn't average 24 touches last year, which means we are having to rely on him increasing his disposal and impact output by up to 20%, 25% even, and we don't have Will Day in there either in order for him to be the feed-off number 2 guy. He's going to get tagged more. I just think there is more, again, that might be in his control, but also outside of his control, that may just rob him of his first All-Australian blazer. And I will remind you that, yes, he has been top 10 in the Brownlow and wasn't in the team. So don't come attacking me. I love Jai. I think he's a superstar. I've met Jai on a number of occasions, and he is an absolute ripper. The Prince of Poowong, number 3, he does us proud every single time he takes the field. But remembering that outside of the Hawks, this is a very, very difficult team, the All-Australian, especially midfield. You are going to be annoying players that are probably better than Jai is at the moment by not also including them. But 40, though? I don't see a reason why he couldn't do that based off of a career best season and a jump. So that's why I've put him here. So what about the ones that I think can make the team? Well, that list is just 4 names long. And I think you know who these are. We'll start with Josh Battle. He was there last year, and frankly, I have no evidence to suggest that he would have a drop-off based on anything that we've seen so far that would be worthy of him not making it. Now, I completely understand why St Kilda and Adelaide fans with Callum Wilkie and Josh Worrell being a little bit upset that Battle made it in over them, and the Daz Talks footy part of my brain, I'll say probably agrees with them, to be fair. The Daz Talks Hawks part of my brain goes, up yours, Hawks always. So I love the fact that he got in. It was a shock to me. I loved it. I love the fact that, because it was basically he and Wilkie in terms of the tall defender that found the footy. They were both ran about the 20 disposal mark, and I do get, because his one-on-one numbers were comparable. Hawks were the better team. These are the kind of biases that you need to take into effect. But again, I have no reason to believe that A, Josh is going to have a fall-off, B, a guy like Sicily would go past him. I don't think he's absolutely in consideration alongside a Worrell or Wilkie for that kind of back pocket third key defender type. The biggest wild card on this list is, of course, going to be Josh Weddle, the re-signing. He's got improvements in his game to be made. I hope that we actually have a number 1 role for him and he's not just a unicorn, chuck him anywhere, what Freo are trying to do with Luke Jackson type of deal. But I hope whether that is through the midfield, whether it is off half-back, personally, I think it absolutely needs to be through the midfield, because if Jai is getting tagged, we need another X-Factor A-grade weapon, and I just think he is the guy. I know I've wanted him to be on a wing, but as soon as Will got injured, I jumped off that train real quick. Get him in the guts, please. Now, again, if that happens, then it's the same analysis with Jai, as you are saying, oh, is it a top 6 midfielder in the competition? So there is going to be a little bit of hypocriticalism. Is that even a word? I don't care, but it's going to make me look like a hypocrite. Let's just go with that. Because if he is going to get into the team, then it would be like on the bench, you would think it would have to be. And in terms of, you know, if you were going to make a team that was like, oh, what if they are playing someone? Well, it's like, well, you can just put him anywhere. It's Josh Weddle, for crying out loud. But we can go to Dylan Moore from that list. And look, he had 19 and average to goal last year, was our biggest tackler inside 50 last year, and yet we all sat here and went, he's had a down year. So the fact that we think that he can actually get back to better form than that, remember when I said when Guinea got dropped, he averaged 20 and 1? Dylan Moore averaged, in some cases, better numbers, 19 and 1 versus 20 and 1. I know that Ginnivan had the better numbers there, but that was Dill down year. So I know that I'm the number one, the CEO of the fan club. I've got a few fan clubs that I'm the CEO of, by the way. But if I had to give all of them up by one, I'm giving them all up except Dylan Moore because I love him. Absolutely. I love the aura and the mentality of giving up the number 13 jumper. That means nothing in all Australian calculations, but stuff it. We love vibes at Daz HQ. He is part of the vibe. So yes, I am loving this in every which way, including upward. Dylan Moore is on the list. And then, of course, we finish it off with the Wizard because I don't know how I could leave him off the list when I've got he's going to lead our goal kicking because that was my prediction. And of the positive predictions on Daz Talks Footy, I had him as an All-Australian. So, of course, he has to be added in on the list. Now, the small forward department's going to be really interesting because so many of them are going to be somewhat CBA players, whereas guys like Isaac Rankin and Christian Petrarca would probably be fighting it out for the half-forward spot. Isaac Heaney would be another one, Chad Warner, etc., etc. That list could go on for miles. Whereas your actual prototypical small forwards, even Josh Rochelle for Adelaide, is going to be that, again, prototypical half-forward flanker rather than finding it out for a small forward spot. So who actually are the small forwards that are not going to get a lot of CBA time? And granted, Watson might, but I think it's going to be lower than all of the guys that we've mentioned. Who actually are they? Like, for the Crows, Nick Watson or Ben Keys, I think Wizards going to have a better season than Ben Keys is, and I like Keezer. But Charlie Cameron and Kai Lohman, I would probably take the Wizard there. Carlton, none of them. You can move on quickly there. Collingwood, Jamie Elliott is a good pick, but again, age, how is he going to respond from a career best season? We're not particularly sure, but we can say that that's one piece of competition. Essendon, none. Freo, I don't think so. Shea Bolton would be the high half forward. They don't have a prototypical small that would fight for that spot, so we can cancel them out as well. Geelong, Ollie Henry, sure. Like Brian Myers would be a high half forward. Brad Close v Nick Watson is not even a conversation in the slightest. Gold Coast don't really have a small. Toby Green, is he going to have more midfield time apart from him? Not really anyone in that regard. So that's already half the league that we've taken care of. I've already spoken about Cozzy Pickett. Paul Curtis would probably be more of a high half forward, but you could probably talk me into him being a forward pocket as well. So we're currently at 3 oppositions now for the Wizard. You go to Port Adelaide, none. Richmond, Seth Campbell won their goal kicking last year, so we'll count that as 4. St Kilda, Jack Higgins potentially, you're counting that as 5. Sydney, Tom Papley, you're counting that as 6. West Coast, no. Maybe Jake Waterman actually, so let's go 7. The Bulldogs, Smalls, Cody Waitman's not going to play half the season, and Riley West is not going to be that guy, I don't think. So that's 7 main oppositions for the actual small forward pocket spot. Yeah, I don't think it's outlandish to say that Nick Watson's going to make it. So much so that he actually leads my pack, if you will, for the top 3 most likely guys. I've got Watson 1, Moore 2, and Battle 3. Weddle, highly unlikely, but I think has the ceiling to get at an All-Australian level, whether it's this year, next year, 2028. We shall see. So those are my thoughts, guys. What do you think? Comment below. Let me know. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you check out Daz Talks Footy and go subscribe over there. Subscribe here. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. And my next video will be my review of the Bulldogs game. Or if I get bored, of course, of talking about other teams, I might come up with a random topic and chuck that in here. So if you've got any suggestions and if you want to shout out, just chuck it in the comments section and I'll see what I can do. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Stay safe. Up the Hawks. See you in the next one.